So our goals today are to learn about PeopleSoft Fin 9.2. And when I say learn about PeopleSoft Fin 9.2, you're not going to learn everything about PeopleSoft Fin 9.2. You'll be introduced to it. Hopefully you've been to a number of trainings already, have been going to the Fin upgrade website, and there's a ton of information out there. You'll find out things you can do to get ready for the upgrade. That's a long list of things, but they're all important. So I encourage you to go take a look at that. And then lastly, to get your questions answered, and I believe there is a way for you to ask questions through this webinar, and we'll be sure and answer those. And if for some reason all the brain power in this room can't answer the question right now, we will definitely get back to you and answer that. Now, a number of questions have come in. And we will, as we go through, we will be answering a lot of these, and some of these we'll answer toward the end as we start wrapping up. With that said, I'm going to turn it over to Cal Anderson to talk about some what we have found at other town hall meetings to be what people seem to think are exciting Fin 9.2 features. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. So first, a general overview about just why we like to have the upgrade. For the first time in 12 years, the university will be on the current version of PeopleSoft. For the first time in 12 years, we are upgrading the software. So two major milestones that I'm excited about. So I wanted to bring up, as Bob said, the major features that we have that are useful to almost everybody. The first of those is a work center. Today in PeopleSoft, when you log in, you see a menu and you see a bunch of white space, and you have to decide where you need to go in the system in order to get any information or to do any transactions. With a work center, there are 4 categories of organization on a menu called My Work, Links, Queries, and Reports. My Work is exactly that. It is things that are needing your attention. It'll be a work list for journal approvers. It'll be queries that will run automatically that, for example, journals in your source that are not approved yet. And so when you see a query link that is active, you click on it and it will bring up the results in the work center that you have. So if we go on, we'll take a look a little bit at what a work center page looks like. There are 2 tabs over on there, organized by main and reports and queries. Under the main is where that current work is, and you can see an example of, here is a case of a query that's been defined for journals that are in error. It's active, and so when you click on it, like I said, over in the white space on the right side, it'll bring up the query. So you don't even have to go to Query Manager to see the results. Links are a replacement of favorites, and links can also be, instead of just menu items within PeopleSoft, they can be external. They could be URL, that's a department web page or an agency web page outside world, and you get to customize this area to personalize it for your needs. The second section, reports and queries. As I said, Query Manager, so you define queries that you need to run regularly, and so when you click on these, this is the easier way. Instead of going to Query Manager, you just click and it'll present the results on the right-hand side of the page. If you're used to running reports, before you had to go out to Report Manager or Process Manager to get the report, but now after you run it, instead it'll be presented as a link on this Work Center, and then you click and open it from there. So as you can see, the Work Center really does help organize things with less navigation for you in order to get all your work done. Workflow is another feature. Today, all journals require approval, but getting that approval is up to you. You email, you call, you walk down the hall, you have to figure out who's supposed to approve it. But now, workflow, the rules will have people defined of who's eligible to approve it. Many areas are doing it by journal source. So in the case of the Denver campus, they're still keeping their same structure they have today of OGC and the central finance office. But the beautiful thing about workflow is you no longer have to figure out how to communicate, because when you submit it for approval, an email goes out to the eligible approvers. It also goes into their work list, so that's a second way that they can be able to access it. So an example on the work list of what it looks like is it's on everybody's home page, front page, and we're also going to place it into my work, so that it's at least visible with all your other areas of my work. When you click on the work list to see what's there, you'll see a listing of all of the approvals that are required. Now the URL looks fairly ugly, but I'll tell you it's very powerful too. You can see within there that there is a journal ID, so you know it's related to a journal. But the reason the URL is so complicated is because when you click on it, it takes you to that transaction. You no longer have to navigate within and find the journal ID. You click it, it opens the page on the approval page, and you can see all the details about the journal. That same URL is in the email that is sent out, so a person does not have to come to the work list in order to do. From the email, if you're not already logged into PeopleSoft, it will bring in the login screen of your portal, and then you'll just enter your login credentials, and it will continue on the path to that journal. So that's the exciting feature about workflow and work list. Within a journal, documenting about the support for a journal today is very awkward. You're limited on the number of characters you can do. You have to have possibly very different emails that you have to reference, and that's all you can do. But now with attachments, you'll be able to, on the journal header, and we'll look at the screen in there, there's a link for attachments, and it also is a counter. So you know there's an attachment if it's greater than 0. And when you click on the link for the attachments, that allows you to view the ones that are on it already, and also to add attachments that will come in that you need to add or you want to have added by somebody else. But the main point about the attachments is it works like similar to many help websites you might go on where you're having to upload comments, or anywhere else on a web. It works in the similar way. When you click the add, it just brings up a browsable search box for finding files on your server or your computer, and then you upload it. Once it's in there, you just click on the document name, and that document will open up. It supports a wide variety: PDFs, JPEGs, GIF, TXT files, Excel files, Word files, almost any kind of file. You can add, so a further point, you can add attachments up until all the time, even after it's posted. You can only delete up until the time a journal is posted. So that should take care of any audit concerns about posted journals, to be sure that you'll never lose the support that was attached with that journal when it was finally approved and posted. Another feature that's going to be helpful for journals is keyword search. Today, when you want to find a journal, you go to the find a journal page, and you can search for journals a person created, or journals for a source, or journals for an accounting period, but that's pretty much it. With keyword search, there's a new tab that's in between the add and find. When you enter text, it searches throughout the journal header, the details of the lines, and it will bring you results of potential journals that match what you enter in. So in this case, we have an invoice and an invoice number, and when you click search, it brings up anything that has the words invoice, or in this case 253A. If you want only those results that are just for that invoice, you simply put plus signs between your words, and then it will then narrow the search down to just those that have all of those words that you have. It also, as you can see, organizes it a little bit by different categories. So it narrows it down for you for different journal dates, journal statuses, and sources. So over on the left, it helps to narrow down and help you navigate within the large list that you could potentially have. An important note about keyword search that's different than find and existing is up at the top, there's this key phrase, this is results as of, or when was last updated. So that's very important. In this case, if a journal was created an hour ago, it will not be in this list because this is a batch process, much like a data warehouse where it must be updated on a scheduled basis versus continually online. So keyword search is not necessarily real time. And if you just simply pay attention to that last update time, you'll be good and not worry about getting results that aren't complete. Okay, for our reporting strategy, main thing is, yes, we have one. We have had one. And we've built a website that helps you navigate through all the different tools we have. But a listing of the tools we do have, and some are continued and some are new. As you'll see at the top is the primary source of reporting is still going to be our MFIN reports. Those have been tested and completely endorsed by all the campus and system controller offices, and those will be continuing. Next is the Fin92 Work Center. You saw that there are reports and queries on it, so that's another source of reporting that's reliable and using a new tool that 9.2 offers. PS Query is going to continue to be used. Those that have access to be able to create queries today will still be able to. We are conducting training classes to teach people a little more how to use it better and to get new users up ready to use it as well. PeopleSoft reports, there are delivered reports, especially in the grants area, not so much in general ledger and finance because no software company can understand the structure of any individual company for how they need to report their details. Cognos Query Studio is also going to continue to use. That's going against the CIW, and there are a number of people who use that today, but it's a way of being able to query out of the CIW database without running a full MFIN report, a little more configurable to your needs. Envision is a new tool to us at the university. PeopleSoft has had that since the 90s, but it basically takes a query and puts it into an Excel format that allows you to have a layer where it's summarized data, and then similar to many MFIN reports, when you find an amount, you can drill down into that amount, either onto a different report or to more detail. But Envision does the same type of processing. You click on a summary level amount, and then it branches down and gets into more details of what makes up that number. OWC tools, the most common one that people use is MS Access. That also will continue to be available. And again, with that, OWC is only to the CIW, not to PeopleSoft data itself. So as I mentioned, we do have a web page. Travis will talk about it a little bit more, but the page is designed to describe what the different tools are, why you might use one over another, and give you suggestions on this is a type of report I need to have. What's the best way for me to be able to get that information?
Cal, we've got a question that's come in.
Okay.
This is from Tracy Sands. I hope I'm saying that right. And she's asking for system, how are the approvers decided for workflow? Is it source code?
Many of our approvals are going to be based on the journal source. And so we're reaching out to different areas, looking at currently how are approvals made for journal entry people. And so based on the person who currently is approving, and those reach outs are being done by the upgrade team as well as the offices. Campuses are doing it a little bit differently. The Denver campus is going to do workflow the same rules basically that they have today. OGC will do for grants and contracts, and the campus finance office is the final approver. The Boulder campus is going out and the same type of outreach by Journal Source. They are defining their rules that are pretty much based on Journal Source.
Okay, great. All right, at this point, I'm going to talk about getting ready for the upgrade. We've been in the process of putting together our finalized getting ready packages over the course of the last several weeks, and we had a good amount of information that was shared from the development team that was very, very technical. Many lines of things that needed to be done that were more geared towards the tech side of campuses and the development team working together. And so what we tried to do is put together a list of things that the people in the fields, the ones actually preparing to use this new system, could take with them and get ready for this upgrade. And we had a good list put together. It got about 8 or 9 items, and we decided, okay, let's squeeze a little harder and come up with 10. So with all apologies to David Letterman, we've got the top 10 ways to get ready for Fin 9.2 for the upgrade here. So number 10 is to attend a town hall. And so you can all check this one off the list. We certainly hope that you are excited about the new format and that you're finding this format to be convenient to you. And so thank you for your attendance today. If you have any feedback about how this webinar experience is going, please, you could direct email me. You could use one of our multiple feedback forms that is on the website. But just an email to me would be fantastic because the controller's office is very interested in providing more webinars in the future. And we've had some pretty good feedback thus far. But again, we would love to hear about this new format. Number 9, sign up for training. When you register for the webinar, this is one of the questions that we asked prior to completing the registration, and we're happy to say it looks as though a lot of you, a vast majority, nearly 80% of you, have signed up for training. So this is great. There are a number of sessions still available for those of you that haven't yet signed up for training. But we're really happy to see that you are engaged with getting into either the journal entry course or the Fin overview course to get the information you need for the upgrade. Which brings us to number 8. Oh, actually, should mention if you haven't attended training or you want to attend an additional session, or perhaps you want to look at the training in a different format, our main controller Elevate page has a link to this specific Elevate Fin training page. And on this page, you can learn about the webinars and sign up for webinars, learn about the in-person training, sign up for in-person training. And so this page is something that many of you have already visited to sign up. But for those 20% or so that haven't yet, I encourage you to make it over to this page. With regards to training, it brings us to number 8, which is to actually attend training. This is, in the initial kickoff of training, we fully expected that people would sign up for training, and then through the course of their schedules being very busy, perhaps wouldn't be able to attend a session for one reason or another. And this is just sort of my word of caution to you, is that eventually we're going to run out of seats. The number of sessions are dwindling as time progresses. And so if you have signed up for a session and weren't able to attend, I highly encourage that you sign up for another one and make sure that we don't find ourselves at the end of October looking for a place to get training when all of the sessions are full or have concluded. With regards to signing up for in-person training, if you have signed up and weren't able to attend, you need to make sure that in Skillsoft you unenroll from the previous session, because you won't be able to sign up for an additional session until you've unregistered yourself from the previous one. And so it just has to deal with the way that Skillport deals with attendance and those sort of things. And so thank you very much for signing up, and then thank you for actually attending the training. Number 7, read the OUC News blog. Now, this is the point of time when, if we're not doing a webinar and we're actually on campus, I ask people to raise their hands and say, how many of you are getting the emails generated from our blog, and how many of you are reading them? In this webinar format, I'm happy to say that we know a majority of you are getting these emails, a majority of you are reading them, because we have analytics tracking these messages. And so the good news is that when we're talking about things that are very, very critical, whether if it's training or if it's learning resources being published online, we have a very high readership. And so we're excited about that. In late June, the reason most of you are getting this is because in late June, Cal produced a list of everybody who has access to Fin. And what we did is we added those email addresses to our distribution list. So when we publish things to our OUC News blog, that's what we're looking at on the screen now, every one of those blog articles triggers an email that goes to the 2,000 and so number of people on that list. And so when those emails come into your inbox, they typically look something like this. Obviously, they don't have the torn page in the middle, but it has the blog posting information up at the top. And then at the bottom of the email, we are always trying to engage with you in a variety of different ways. And these engagement points change as time goes on. So right now we're offering you to register for training. We want you to follow us on Twitter, reminding you to visit the website, also reminding you to give us feedback. And so these email messages will likely become more frequent over the course of the next month. Up until this point, we've really tried to not use this communication tool unless it was necessary information. So the normal stream of information you would see from the controller's office, we're holding back some of that to make sure that when we're talking to you, you can rest assured that this is important stuff. We don't take that interruption of what you're doing for your job lightly. We want to make sure that we're only putting things in front of you that are relevant and timely. The email subject, CU blog notification, as of late last week, that's actually not the case. So when these emails come in to your inbox, previously they had a very ambiguous, I suppose, subject that said CU blog notification, and we think people were maybe not understanding what that was. And that was the feedback we received from you. So we worked with the vendor to change that. So it will now, I believe, say CU blog and then have a colon, and then it actually has the blog posting title. And so you'll be able to see what the subject of that email is. So hopefully it will help you to, as you're scanning your inbox, pick up on those messages. Number 6 in the top 10 for getting ready for Fin 9.2 is to watch the videos. Our multimedia developer, Mike Edwards, has been working at a feverish pitch to produce as many videos documenting and talking about this system over the course of the last several months. These videos are available from the Controller Elevate webpage. You can see some of them linked to down here. We've had some pretty good feedback on the videos thus far, and so I wanted to take a minute to talk about them. They come out in essentially 2 flavors. One of them is a feature highlight video. This is this sort of video that isn't going to have screenshots of the system. It's more of a conceptual video to talk about things. And so the attachments video, for example, will say, this is what attachments are, this is what they're going to do, but you don't actually see the system. Okay, so those are feature highlight videos. The other videos that Mike is producing are how-to videos. Now, these are the more traditional videos that you're probably accustomed to from the controller's office and elsewhere, which is an actual screen capture video of the process itself. So again, it's Mike going into the system, talking about a work list or talking about how to do something, and he's showing the live system. And so what we found is that oftentimes with these videos, it's much easier to convey a concept or show somebody how to do something using moving pictures and audio than it is to produce a 6-page PDF with static screenshots and 1-sentence and 2-sentence instructions. And so again, when we asked you to register for this event, we asked the question if anybody had seen these videos, and about half of you had. So that's great. So I encourage the rest of you to take a look at these videos. And again, any feedback you can give to us on these would be greatly appreciated. Okay, number 5. Know your reporting tools. This is just to re-emphasize what Cal talked about before, and that is that there are new tools available now with Fin 9.2. And on our financial reporting tool inventory, we've gotten the tools broken down on this web page in tabs. And so as you visit each tab, it'll talk a little bit about the tool, give you hopefully some guidance on why you may want to use this. It also talks about the various formats that the tool produces. It talks about the support that is offered for that tool. So if you have a question about PS query, who do I go to? That information. And it also has an indicator on there as to how likely departments are to need this tool. And so for the most part, a lot of departments are going to find that MFin Reports does the things that they need. It has a variety of formats. It has tremendous support from Carl Sorensen. And so we have this indicator here that will let you know, again, how likely it is that you're going to find that tool to work for you. Number 4 is to use our learning resources. So the how-to videos are part of our toolbox of learning resources. And as I said before, sometimes it's easier to illustrate a concept using moving pictures. That's not always the case. Sometimes it's easier to communicate just using a PDF file or a 1-page document that gives instructions on how to do something. So all of our learning resources, more are being produced every week. We're refining them and improving them as we receive feedback. They are available if you go to the Controller Elevate website. Right now, up on the top box is where we link over to those. Post go live, these learning resources will be integrated into the controller website, just as the rest of our learning resources are today. And so we encourage you, take a look at those. Please, please, please provide feedback. All of these learning resources have mechanisms for you to click to a web form, a feedback form, to talk to us, to let us know, did this make sense? Did this serve its anticipated purposes? So next, use the readiness website. This is a new website we're building. HCM is building readiness websites as well. We're putting the finishing touches on ours. But essentially what this is going to be is, think of it sort of as a digital checklist, is probably the closest thing I could think for this. And that is, you get in here and there's going to be tabs telling you, okay, look, it's October, or it's 10 days before go live, or it's post go live, or it's go live day. What are the things that you need to be doing? What do you need to be checking? It's going to have timeline, key dates and times as far as what systems are going to be have diminished features or availability during the transition, because those sort of things will happen. And so all of that will be available in this. As I said, we're putting the finishing touches on this. This will be a live document. Like most of our website, we're constantly making changes and adjustments to this. And so what we are doing is, as soon as we have this production ready, we will blog about it. So you will all receive an email saying, go to the Elevate Fin Are You Ready page. Then you can look at those dates that we have listed there. You can put them into your Outlook calendars, or whatever calendar that makes sense to you. And then as we add things to that list, we will continue to blog about it. And so we may say, hey, we heard from this campus. They think it's a good idea that we add this to the checklist. If we add it to the readiness list, we'll blog about it. And so you all can know within hours as we change this document. Okay, number 2 is watch recorded webinars. This webinar today is being recorded. We've recorded the overview training webinar, and that is available online. This is what the page looks like, and this is the URL. But we're really trying to make all of our communications and training as flexible and convenient for you as possible. So if you know somebody that wasn't able to attend this webinar, within the next week, we'll have this webinar posted online, so you can watch to refresh your, give yourself a refresher, or for those that missed it, they can watch this. The same goes with our overview training, and the journal entry. We'll be setting up a webinar for that as well. And so again, if you aren't able to attend something, please stay tuned to your inbox, and as we post recordings of these webinars, you will be notified there. And then number 1 is stay in touch. As I indicated earlier, when we're blogging about things, when we're putting things in your inbox, we're constantly asking for feedback. So nearly every section of our website has a mechanism to get in touch with us, to provide feedback. Early on, we saw a fair amount of traffic there, and it was exciting because you were identifying questions that we were able to pass along to the development team, or pass along to Cal, or pass along to the trainers to help us refine our training communications. It's gotten a little quiet recently, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not. Part of me says, oh, this is a good thing. Nobody has questions. Everything is working perfectly. However, the realistic side of me says, wait a second, there may be just a lot of things going on. Perhaps they just need a reminder that, hey, we're listening. We really want to make sure that you understand that there are a variety of ways to get in touch with us. The web forms that you fill out online, our feedback forms, come directly to myself and Normandy Roden, and we push those along to the appropriate people on the Fin side to get those questions addressed. So again, please stay in touch, ask questions, provide us feedback, because we really want this to be as successful as possible. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Normandy Roden for just a brief general forum. And there is a handout available in the webinar that is a PDF file that has these questions listed. So I'm going to turn it over to Normandy, and she's going to hopefully facilitate a online discussion with some questions and perhaps some concerns.
So if you look at the slides, the slide being shown right now, or if you've pulled down the handout from the webinar, you can see that there are 4 questions we're particularly interested in hearing from you on, but there's also a lot of space and time for additional questions. So feel free not to be bound by the questions you see here. Questions on the slide ask you, what aspect of the upgrade has you most excited? What aspect of the upgrade has you most worried? Where do you plan to get support leading up to and after go live in November? And is there one other thing we haven't mentioned or thought of that we could do to help you get ready for the upgrade? So what I'd like to do is invite you to, if you've collapsed your little GoToWebinar box, pull it open and send in some questions. And we'll also take some questions from the room as we're letting people have time to chat. I have one person excited in the room about attachments. Okay, we hear that. We've heard that in all the town halls so far, that people are loving attachments. And and just really excited that they don't have to keep paper files necessarily. They don't have to walk things over to approvers. They don't have to email documents. It's all there all the time. And one thing that happened on the Springs campus is we had some interesting discussion on the whole attachments issue. And we've decided that we're going to create some additional learning resources to help you deal with attachments in the most effective way. Travis, you want to bring us up to date on some of the new learning resources while we wait for some additional questions?
Sure thing. So one of the, I think it was Colorado Springs, we were talking about attachments, and it's one of those things that I think people love the idea of attachments. It's obviously going to save time, but there wasn't really any specific guidance as to how do I get this information sort of in attachment ready format. And so there was some discussion as far as, okay, I'm looking at this report online, and what I would normally do is I would print this out, and maybe I would walk it over across the office to this person. They would look at it or whatnot. And so their process was going to essentially, okay, instead of walking it over there, I print it out. Maybe I go over to the Xerox copy machine that has the scanner. I put it on there. I scan it. Then email that file to myself, and then go back to my desk and say, okay, well, here's the file. Now I can attach this PDF file. And what we thought was, well, there are some more efficient ways perhaps to get to that point. Many modern web browsers will give you the ability, if you're looking at something on the screen, to print it straight to the PDF file. So it gets rid of that step of printing it on paper, walking over to the copier, and just save that information as a PDF file to begin with. And so we thought, well, that's a really great idea for perhaps a how-to video that we can put together that says, okay, look, here's maybe 5 or 6 different ways that you can get information that you're looking at on your screen, and how do you get that into a file that you can upload into Fin. And I think, some of it is just, maybe you just do a screen capture of it. And so we know that not every campus and department has the same tools at their disposal. So what we're going to do is look at some tools that are perhaps free, or that are already part of your web browser that can help with this. Okay.
So there is a question about training availability, and as far as what sessions are left for overview training, if there's anything at Anschutz, or just in general, what are the options remaining?
We do not currently have any additional Fin overview sessions scheduled at Anschutz. We do have one session scheduled at the 1800 Grant CU System Office Building on October 22nd. We have one overview webinar scheduled for this afternoon at 1 o'clock, which we would encourage you to sign up for. And we have 2 more on November 9th, webinar sessions. I'm hoping that'll work for you. Please feel free to write in. We have another question coming in online. The link to the readiness site, I think, on the Elevate page. I can't quite see that full question.
Yep.
Okay. Travis mentioned that we're almost ready with a readiness site, but we're not quite ready with a readiness site. So I would say, what do you think, Travis? The beginning of next week, we'll have that available and up. So you're going to the right place. I commend you for that. www.cu.edu/controller/elevate is the place to start. We will have a prominent icon on there by the beginning of next week that will take you to the readiness site. So thanks, Jonathan, for that.
Another question that you should repeat is, will there be a unique help desk when Fin 9.2 goes live?
Will there be a unique help desk when Fin 9.2 goes live? We do have a unique help desk. Everyone on there is quite unique. And that is the Finance and Procurement Help Desk, FinPro Help. You can reach them at finprohelp@cu.edu or by calling 303-837-2161. They will be available to help answer all questions that they've been answering related to Cognos reporting, related to purchasing, payables, and travel, and they will also be able to support you on your Fin 9.2 questions. In addition, we'll have on-site support on all of the campuses after go live in the month of November. If you'd like some information about how to get on-site support, where to go on your campus, contact your campus controller's office and they can identify where individuals will be there from the Fin 9.2 team to support you. Thank you for that question. We have another question about concern about training.
Yeah, I've got two things coming in here. First is from Susan, and she says that she finds the Help To videos most helpful. Thank you for continuing to keep these available. And the reason I mentioned that one first is because Jonathan had a concern about training and that his department is extremely understaffed and training time has been very hard to obtain. And we understand that. Which is one of the reasons why we're trying to put as much of the training as possible in formats that allow you to consume that content asynchronously. So it's difficult to find a room. It's difficult to get everybody the time to be in the room at the same place at the same time. So our webinars, as I said before, are recorded. And those webinars offer the same content as the in-person training session would. In terms of total time, the webinars are typically less than an hour. And again, they could watch them from anywhere at any time. When they watch the webinar, they have an opportunity to fill out a form that will essentially give them credit in Skillsoft. And so that is something that the university keeps track of, is who attended this training. And so all of the same things that would happen in a face-to-face training, all the same content is available. Now, certainly understand that watching a recorded webinar doesn't give you an opportunity to raise your hand and ask a question. And so there are limitations to that. But hopefully having these additional formats available will help lessen the burden that departments have to try to coordinate everyone pulling together. One other additional, I think, is a great way to consume webinars is what we call sort of the watch parties, right? So this is sort of like the Oscar watch parties or sort of things where maybe you pull together the 5 or 6 people in your department, you get a conference room that's local to you and easy for you to book, and you participate in the webinar as a group, which is a great way to have your own interdepartment conversations and questions, and then in the webinar format be able to pose questions as a group. So that's a great way to get that training as well.
We have one question from inside the room. Well, actually a question playing off of the question on the slide. What is one thing we could do to help you prepare for Fin 9.2? And that's a question about making the journal entry training into a webinar. Travis mentioned it briefly earlier on, but we don't have that information on our website yet to see. But we will be doing a journal entry webinar, probably splitting it into 2 webinars to cover what we're teaching in the live classroom course. And that's in response to interest on all the campuses for having something that's available training-wise all the time that's specifically dedicated to journals. And we'll be talking about live journals, and we'll be talking about the journal entry spreadsheet.
Okay, I think if anybody else has any additional questions at this time, please feel free to go ahead and drop them in the question pool. We'll wait here for a few brief moments to see if we have any additional questions. And it looks like we've got some coming in now. Oh my, now we're getting into the nitty gritty here. Now we're getting into the technical stuff that I can't talk about. So fortunately, we have a room full of experts here. Carmen is asking, will the job encumbrances functionality be different? In which module could user enter encumbrances and have it display in the financial reports? Example, department MOU commitments that are a year or more into the future. So I'm going to turn to an expert that can help answer that question, hopefully. Cal?
if you're talking about creating payroll encumbrance journals, they're still going to be done in HCM. If you're talking about just a general ledger, because I feel like this was it, if you're speaking job encumbrance journals in general will simply be the same. There won't be a special menu item for an encumbrance journal. You'll instead go into journal entry and select the appropriate ledger.
Okay. Hopefully, Carmen, if hopefully that answered that question for you. If it didn't, let us know, and we'll have Cal perhaps follow up with you individually to get maybe some more details on that question. Got a question from Susan. Will we have the same access as we have now? Are there forms we need to complete prior to going live? That's a great question.
So who is submitting this question?
Susan.
Susan. Thank you, Susan. Your access will carry over from Fin 8.4 into Fin 9.2. The only reason that you would need to request to process through forms would be if you were changing your access now, between now and our go live date. But the access that you have carries forward.
That's right.
Got a question here from Barb. Will the source code from My Concur be the same as it is in 8.4?
Yes, it will be. ESE and ESP, just like you say.
Well, that was an easy one.
I like short answers.
Yeah.
I like easy questions and short answers.
That's great. Wonderful. Okay, any other final questions? I think Mike, have we gotten through the list here? I think we've done pretty good through the list. Okay, great. Well, at this point in time, if you think of any additional questions, like I said, please, via the many feedback mechanisms, get in touch with us and let us know, and then we'll get those questions answered for you. Again, over the course of the next week, expect a few different blog postings that will have information about the readiness checklist. There will be a blog posting that has information about our latest videos, the feature highlight video for, oh gosh, now I can't remember, favorites. That's right. Feature highlight for favorites. And so that will be coming out, as well as information about linking to this recording for this webinar that you could share with everyone. So what we're going to do is just take a look at the questions that we had earlier in the presentation. Again, these are questions that people that have signed up for the town halls sort of asked in advance. And so I'm going to just pull all of these up on the screen. There we go. So again, rather than walking through these individually, hopefully I believe we've covered all of these. So as a reminder, is what is changing with month-end processing. All of those changes are taking place behind the scenes. Can you talk about workflow? Cal talked about workflow. This one it's a popular topic on the campuses. So if you have additional workflow questions, again, get us to it via feedback. How can I prepare for the transition? Follow the top 10 that we walked through. Can journal entry preparers identify which approver should approve a journal entry? The answer is no, they can't pick one. Or will all speed type fiscal approvers get notified there's a journal entry to approve? And the answer to that is also no. Can we use Oracle's training, or is our Oracle system unique to CU? And talking with Normandy, I'll just maybe let her talk to that particular question.
Oracle offers a number of live classroom sessions, and for people who like live training, that sounds appealing, but we would not recommend that you sign up for them. They are long, they're detailed. The equivalent training would be offered here, and they're pricey. The training here is not. However, Googling, going online, searching people books, we do that ourselves. Going online for support to questions on Oracle software, perfectly fine. Just don't recommend the live classes. And the last question that we had submitted to us before we began the webinar, will the integration still work? We've had a lot of questions about that, HCM integrations, Concur and CU Marketplace feeding in and so forth. Yes, all the integrations will still work in Fin 9.2, just as they work right now. If you have any more questions after the webinar ends, you know how to reach us. Start with our website, give a call to the FinPro Help Desk, or email them. And as Travis mentioned earlier, at the bottom of every communication that we send to you, on virtually every web page we have dedicated to Fin 9.2, there is a feedback question form that comes directly to Travis and me, and we will make sure that your question and your feedback gets to the right person. So stay in touch. Let us know what you think, what you need. We are here to help you get through to Fin 9.2 together, and thank you very much for your time today.